have some yeast nutrient, and the instructions say add at a rate of 0.75 to 1.5 grams per gallon. I'm going to say that that's 5 grams per gallon, plus or minus. I've already taken into account the weight of the weighing paper, so 5 grams, plus or minus. And it doesn't have to be this accurate, apparently. This looks like less than 6, more than 5.5. 5.5 is here, but 0.15 adds a little bit more, so we're up into the there you go. But you got to take off 0.15 from that, so 7.5. 5.75 grams. Close enough. But I do keep records to know what to do next time. Okay? Alright, let's set that to the back. And we will be using that in a moment. We have about 2 gallons of warm water. We have a clean funnel. We have 5 pounds of honey, which I've warmed up in hot water. It is very warm. Let's see if that mixes in. I had a comment from a viewer that said, well, why don't you heat the honey first so that it pours better? And dang it, he was right. Okay. That poured fast. That's regular Walmart honey, and if you want to diss their brand, I don't care. It comes from China. So what are the chances it's pure honey? And if it's not, who's going to check? Real honey is fructose from the flowers. Fake honey will be sucrose from sugar water that the beekeeper lays out because it's cheaper than having the bees run all over the place. So it's got a little bit of bee barf flavor on it, but not a lot of whatever it is that the bees bring back in the form of pollen. They'll have some, but I have my doubts as to, at the price that these are, I have my doubts. Okay, see how much more water we can get into this. Quite a bit, looks like. You know what? The honey came out of that very, very easy. So I'm going to say warming it up is a good idea. What I will also say is that some recipes call for you to boil the honey with water and take it thy scum off the pot as it comes to a rolling boil. Other people say, don't do that. Their logic being, the aromatics, the flavors that come from the bees are exactly what you're trying to capture. And the hot water will drive that off. It's just about bath temperature warm, maybe 104 Fahrenheit. It's not super warm. But I would not want to put the yeast in yet. I'm going to wait and do that. Alright, we're about half full on the water. And I was getting a lot of stickage on the bottom of the honey jar. So, just that bit of shaking, got it free. Let's see what else we got in there. Okay, let's take the funnel out. Just a lot of honey in the funnel. Hey! It's definitely lighter on the top than on the bottom, but it certainly looks like the honey is mixing in. It's exactly what I wanted. Oi! And if you waft across the top, it's a lot of good smell coming off of that. It smells like honey. It might be perfectly pure. I just have suspicions about Walmart honey, but not so much that I'm going to travel 6 hours to a honey store. Guess the nearest one will be down in Tampa. Yeah, I should be there sometime in a week or so, but we'll see. Alright, now this is about as fun as watching a paint dry. I've rinsed all the stuff on the sides in. And now, just a little bit of magic. This is yeast nutrient. Looks kind of like salt, but finer grained. See if it makes a difference. I tried using apple juice last time as the nutrient source. It was okay, but it's a little bit tangier than I wanted. So we'll find out. So that's, I pitched in the nutrient, but there's no yeast in there yet. I'm going to fill up the rest of this, and I'm going to wait a couple hours. It's still warm. I don't want to kill the yeast. I've got the yeast, I don't want to kill it. Alright. One of the things you always do is keep it sealed against anything crawling in. All you got to do is keep out the bugs. Anything that gets in there is going to die, and I don't think anything's going to lay eggs around the top and have crawlies get all the way down. You never know, but I don't think it's going to work that way. See what we get. All I'm going to do is fill up to here, then shake it some more, okay? Hang tight. What we have here is a big bottle of sugar water. Actually, it's honey, but basically sugar with some flavors in. Come on, baby. Get mixed up. Seems pretty consistent in color. The top inch or so seems lighter, but is that because more light's coming from the top than from the bottom? I don't see a whole lot of settling, but I don't know. Kind of want to take a sample, and I kind of don't. I'm going to wait for it to cool down a little bit, and then I'm going to pitch in the yeast. I've left some room at the top. That's headroom so that it doesn't blow the cork out. Anyway, give me an hour, let that cool down. One of the nice things about this hobby is sharing. I promised a local lady I would share with her some mead. This is from back in November, so it's about 4 months old. Almost to the day. Okay. This is going to the lovely, incomparable, and this is for me. Oh yeah. If you're not going to drink what you make, you're silly. It's a little bit tangier than I was wanting, because the last time I used apple juice, and it leaves a little bit of a malic taste to it. Not metallic, but malic acid, which is part of the biology of the apples. It's not bad at all. There's no way I'm throwing it out. Alright, it's been 2 hours and testing it like you would test a baby bottle. Your wrist. I don't know if it's the front or the back, so I did both, and it does not seem hot. It is merely warm. Tepid bathtub warm. So what I'm going to do is add just a little bit of yeast. Don't need much. It's got yeast nutrient already in. Ooh, that's way more than I intended to add. And if it dissolves in and starts bubbling in a day or two, well and good. And if not, well, I'll add some more yeast when it cools down. But as far as I'm concerned, that is going in the winery. And it weighs about 40 odd pounds, so I'm just gonna turn the recording off and use both hands. Alright, we'll see how this works. In the meantime, I'm gonna have another glass of that last batch of Mead. Good night. We're in the winery. 3 days after I pitched the yeast in. I was worried that it might be too warm for the yeast and it might damage it, kill it. Nope. The yeast is just happy as it can be. See if we can get a sound bite on the bubbles. I can hear the rooster. I can't really hear the bubbles. But it sounds like rain on a roof, okay? Just thousands of tiny, tiny bubbles breaking happily. So, yeah, 3 days after we started, and we have bubble sign. But there's not a bunch of stuff across the surface. There's some splash where yeast has been tossed onto the inner wall, and that's kind of the end of its life cycle because it's not in the ferment anymore. Doesn't matter. There's enough in there that it will have plenty of bubbles. Somebody wants to go outside. The other door is open. He has to go his own way. Anyway, that's about 2 months from being yummy. Well, it's probably already yummy right now because it's sugar water. But what we want is alcohol, and we want the yeast to settle. So after about a month, all of the yeast will have done its job, and it will say, "Whew, I'm gonna go for a nap," and it will all sink to the bottom, and I can carefully siphon out the good stuff. That's all for now.